G'day from the Asiana Lounge in Seoul, Korea, as I head back to Australia after witnessing McLaren taking a 2-3 result behind Max Verstappen. He was always going to win, wasn't he? I'll share with you what I saw, and very few other people did, in 8 seconds' time. Well, yesterday was an exciting day if you're a McLaren fan, with Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris ending up on the podium. I was front and centre at Parc Fermé, Lando giving me the thumbs up less than a metre from me. Oscar, of course, with a beaming grin. That was his first podium, and then it was up onto the podium to spray champagne and accept their trophies. But what happened afterwards? Well, I went up to the press conference. Oscar was the first in, sat there for some minutes on his own and chatted with a couple of the journos, was pretty relaxed about it and excited. His mother was invited by Zach Brown to come, but wasn't able to make it. And then Max came in, followed by Lando Norris. Lando is typically the longest talker down in the TV media pen. It was interesting because both Lando and Oscar had red plastic water bottles with Coke logos on them. And Tom Clarkson said, "Oh, would you like to put them down?" And Lando chirps back, "No, you can't deny us our hydration." To which Tom replied, "Well, we can't have them on screen." And Max had already hid his Red Bull can, so Lando put his bottle up on the top of the couch with the logo very clearly facing the camera. And one of the crew came over and offered Lando a bottle of water without any logos on it, which he ended up taking eventually. But I wasn't aware that that was a thing. Afterwards, they came down into the paddock, Lando giving me this 2 symbol. In fact, I missed the first one. I just stopped shooting as he went to put his hand up, and I asked him to do it again, which he kindly did. And behind him, Oscar says, "What about my 3?" So, of course, I got him as well. But afterwards, both McLaren drivers headed out for the celebration shot, which I didn't get. But here's the celebration from the Red Bull team. Max's win and, of course, winning the Constructors Championship. Now, a change of tack. My son was trying to watch a football final, an AFL game anyway, last weekend, from Japan, but the streaming service we use in Australia picked up he was in Japan. So, with Surfshark, he managed to log on in Australia and fool the system. If you travel a lot, chances are you need a VPN like Surfshark. This is an app and a browser extension that enables you to place your device anywhere in the world. In certain countries, I can't get access to certain apps and websites, but by using Surfshark, I can. And at the moment, you can get an extra 3 months free by using the promotion code KIM when you click on the link in the description below. Thank you, Surfshark. Going back to Saturday morning, Lando locked up big time coming into pit lane, and I was lucky enough to be there and got every single frame. It was impressive. What else stood out for me over the weekend? Oh, Mick Schumacher and his girlfriend Layla were at the paddock, and for the first time ever, we've seen them holding hands. There are about 30 photographers watching them come in through the swipe gates, but they were apart by a couple of metres, so not much of a photo, but once they got past them, at some point, there was only, I think, 3 of us shooting, and Mick initiated the hand-holding. Layla is Danish, for those of you who don't know, and is quite popular on social media. She is a model, very much used to the cameras. Other stuff, in no particular order, I asked Ted Kravitz, primarily because a lot of you asked, and when I say a lot, maybe a dozen, what sunscreen does he use? He uses an Australian product called Mugu. Says he stocks up at the start of the year in Melbourne. Valtteri Bottas, I asked him what his favourite food in Japan was, to which he responded, Kobe beef. And coming out shortly, I have a video that will deal with 3 steaks that I had in Osaka, a $5, $80 and a $200 steak, and I think you'll love that video. One of my most popular posts this weekend on Instagram really hit a nerve was Lewis's tooth. I thought he'd actually had some dental work done. It looked like a crown, but no, it was jewellery. On Saturday morning, I was given the heads up with about an hour's notice that Yuki and Daniel would be signed by AlphaTauri and to be out on pit lane in front of the podium because Yuki would be addressing the crowd, which he did. They were all pretty excited to hear that their favourite Japanese driver will be back again for AlphaTauri in 2024. Now, let me take your attention to the Japanese fans. They are like anything you've ever seen. They dress up, they are really passionate. They'll stand for hours waiting for drivers to come in, and I'm talking both in the track and just outside the track. And for the prize for the most innovative outfits, I would give it to this family of 4. Cartoon images of all of the drivers on their suits, and they even had a spare piece of material which they asked drivers to sign. Oscar Piastri was impressed and was glad to give them an autograph. Still on the subject of fans, there were probably 10,000 sitting out in the stands well after the track action had finished on Saturday night, and they all had these glow torches which provided a marvellous background for the F1 Experience's trophy shots. Of course, they're photography mad here in Japan, and there are 2 sections of the crowd where you can pay a premium and sit and photograph the track action with any lens you like. Now, at a lot of events, they won't let you take a professional camera in, but there were hundreds with them at the Japanese Grand Prix. One of my favourite shots this weekend was this one, a reflection of a very shiny floor of cars going down pit lane. Now, I sat there for probably 20 minutes, and the things you have to battle with are people walking across and ruining your shot, not being able to shoot quick enough to get a frame where the car's right in the middle. So in the end, I was shooting at 50 frames in half a second and having to wait for a car to pass there in the sun. But the end result is some lovely looking images. One of the biggest stories this weekend was that Sebastian Vettel rejoined F1 because he'd set up some insect hives at Turn 2. He had all of the drivers come down on Thursday afternoon and pose for a group photo, and afterwards the drivers from each team went and painted their individual hives, or hotels for insects. It's not just bees either. One thing you'll note, in this picture there are a couple of drivers not visible. One is Kevin Magnussen. Another one is Carlos Sainz, Nico Hulkenberg. Well, Hulk and Carlos did arrive, but I'm reasonably confident that Kevin was the only driver not to attend. After that, Seb went back to pit lane, chatted with Fernando in the garage. He popped in to see Franz Tost at the hospitality suite, and then pretty much visited most garages, I think, throughout the day. But on Sunday, on race day, I found him out at turn 4 or 5 with Britta, just watching from the sidelines. Now that's something I don't think an F1 driver does very often. Oh, and also I should say too that he was out in FP1 down at turn 2 with Mick Schumacher. On one other thing, because I got to talk to Seb for about 10 minutes on my own, which was lovely, he mentioned that there were no tools, electric tools, used in the making of any of those hotels, which will stay at turn 2 for the foreseeable future. This young lady here was certainly a fan of Sebastian's. She was air-kissing the screen in the paddock for probably 30 seconds. Out in pit lane on Thursday, I found Esteban Ocon and Lewis Hamilton racing remote-controlled cars, and they were getting on famously. Well, it was darn hot, and Lewis, dressed in all black, was certainly feeling the heat. At one point, they even chased after the medical car as it took off down pit lane. Out in the fan zone behind the grandstand, they had pictures of all the drivers up, and AlphaTauri actually had 3 drivers. They had Daniel, Liam and Yuki, the only team with 3 drivers up there. Let me talk a bit more about the fans. I love their dress sense. They are crazy and out there. Some wonderful outfits to be seen, and Lewis, of course, wore a number of outfits. I think a couple were Japanese-inspired or from Japanese designers, but we saw other drivers equally impressively dressed in casual kit. Hairstyles, anything unusual? Yeah, this guy's hair on his leg. Never seen that before. Now, a lot of the females watching this loved to know whether there were any girlfriends at the track. Well, I've already mentioned Mick Schumacher's girlfriend was there. Who else did we have? Carlos's girlfriend Rebecca was there, no pictures to speak of. This is the only shot I got of Charles' girlfriend Alexandra. And we had Fernando's girlfriend Melissa, who works as a journalist for DAZN. Mums and dads. Yes, Yuki's dad was there, and I was actually doing a meet and greet over in the fan zone on Friday afternoon, and a brilliant artist gave me one of these cutouts. I said, look, it's too big for me to take home, but there's Yuki's dad. So I called him over, and he was more than happy to take home this life-size effigy of his son. Yuki's mum was there. She was sitting in a grandstand, and his sister was also in the paddock, and she is a ball of fun. Oh, and I nearly forgot Alex Albon's sister, Alicia, who's working in hospitality at the track. There are 6 races still to go in this season, and already Red Bull's won the Constructors' Championship, which is a fair effort, and Max Verstappen obviously is the standout. Christian Horner had just finished doing an interview, and I hope to get a clean shot of the shirts that they were wearing. At this particular moment, Christian was talking to his wife, Jerry, with a voice call that we could all hear. It was a lovely chat. You might remember that last week, after Carlos's win, someone from Ferrari went and put a Ferrari sticker on one of the Red Bull ice boxes. Well, at the press conference, while they were waiting to start, Max was talking to his press officer asking for a number of stickers, and she was trying to ascertain what size and what do you want on them, and in the end he just said, look, I just want to return the favour to Ferrari and put a sticker on one of their ice boxes. Now, I didn't hang around long enough to find out if that happened, but you may have seen something on social media anyway. It was planned. Did it come off? I'm going to talk now about watches of the paddock, because my lead watch in my post on Sunday night was this one from Lewis Hamilton. Now, this is a limited edition, 44 pieces only, each one numbered, and it's a collaboration between Lewis and IWC. This sells for about $160,000 US. You may well watch this video before my Shoes of the Paddock post goes up, but my gosh, I saw some absolutely amazing shoes, and that lady is talking way too loudly. Seldom do we see such amazing shoes as we saw at this race. And were there any celebrities here? No. Honda's CEO was there. He created a bit of a buzz, but no one really of any note that I saw. I now have a weekend off back in Perth, and then it's off to Qatar with the first of 6 races on the road, and I can't wait to show you what the new paddock looks like in Qatar. Although I'm not too happy about the temperature, because at the moment it's about 40 degrees every day. And for those Aussies watching, my tip for the grand final is Carlton. The Blue Baggers... What?
Not playing.
They're not playing. Okay, so many outtakes. And for those of you Aussie rules fans, my tip for the grand final is Brisbane, because I don't want to see Collingwood win. But I do want to see you hit the like button, please, on this video, and subscribe, please. It costs you nothing, and you'll get lots and lots of great F1 and travel content. And if you're looking for other stuff to have a look at, there you go. Plenty on offer amongst this lot here. Thanks for watching, and passionate stay. Victoria.
Isn't it Jerry?
Oh yeah, you're right. That's Beckham's wife. Oh, okay. Well, that's my outtake.